Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Hussain from University Malaya, and I will be talking about one of the key point in making internet a safer place, and it's about preserving the privacy of the digital contents over the internet. So this is the okay. So fine. So my presentation will cover the role of private sector in privacy preserving, because when it's come to digital rights management, it is the it defines the mechanism to protect the digital contents, privacy, intellectual property rights of the on the internet. And in the cloud computing, because cloud is capturing a huge market in today's IT world, and a lot of our digital contents resides in the cloud. So in the cloud, the DRM is when some the data owner publish its content on the cloud, so it has to know how can it protect, how can it can enforce the access rights over its documents when the consumer of that cloud, when the consumer want to access the devices, you can access from the mobile devices, laptop, and even not smart devices, IoTs are capturing and consuming the cloud content, so it has a wide application. It's when it's come to the cloud development, it's only the private sector which contributes in the development of the cloud and defining the standards and the policies for the development. And in fact, the entire infrastructure is being as per the feedback and the work of the private sector. So they has to take care of the users' privacy into account, but mostly the corporate sectors are only concerned about their own business incentives, policies, and their own business interests. But in order to make the technologies more applicable and to increase their audience and to make their business work, they have to take care of the user's point of view, and they need to do a lot of things. So we will also be talking about why there is a need of particular cloud-based DRMs in detail, and the service delivery model of the cloud-based DRM, what are the solutions available, what is their architecture benchmarks, and how you among the ID and the academia, the IT professionals, or maybe the policymakers are gonna involved in this topic, and what are the potentials of you people can get benefit of this technology. And then of course the legal and the governance challenges associated with these sort of things. We cannot avoid these, because those are also essential in the fair use of the technology, and it's also really a matter of concern in the recent past few years, and the countries are being more and more active in developing their internet policies, cyber laws, and then we will also see some of the technological benchmarks, the available landscape in the digital rights management solutions, and some will be like takeaways for you as an audience to try some solutions out there and enjoy them. So privacy is concerned when the data is out in the internet. and some business owner is capturing data. Say for the telcos, they are storing the users' private information and their statistics about all that. Then the privacy became very much concerned, and it's on the responsibility of on the private sector as well to and in the private sector as well to make sure that the integrity of the data is intact, so that they have the trust of their customers, and people have feel more relaxed and more of confident on using the technology. So if we are not going to use or apply the DRM principles in the on the digital contents, it may have a threat to the data and the reputation of the organization, corporates. That's why it's very important to study these. Then when all the corporates and in the industry, they try to make the internet as much flexible and easy to use for the customers, and these sort of DRM mechanism are very much important, so as to enable the more and more trust in their infrastructure, in the service delivery. And further, there is a lot of innovation going on in the IT sector, and startup culture is also going to up, and number of patents and publications are also growing very high, and it was not that much intense in the past few years, but the concern of privacy and the intellectual property remains if we do not adopt the DRM mechanisms, and this is a very crucial point, because this is gonna kill the innovation and good ideas, good executions, if we are not gonna provide good solutions for protecting the intellectual properties and the privacy over the contents over the internet. Right now, there are majority of us use the many big services like Google, Facebook, WhatsApp, and we are also concerned about how these technologies are going to further support the innovation. So there has to be some mechanisms available to the customers to increase to retain the innovations. And then the data movement and the competitiveness among, like when there's always collaborations among the content providers to share their data with others as per their business model. So that thing has to also take care about the de-identification of the data. For example, some like organization collects the data, let's say from governmental organizations, so they has to de-identify the data. For example, there is personal information about everyone, so they have to reduce the data in a way that trim the information, public personal information, so that data it does not reflect that you cannot trace someone based on based on all the data. It has to be a generic information, though there are a lot of applications in the academia and in maybe the medical sector, so they want maybe the service governance improvements, but this has to be de-identified first, and so that people are like confident enough that their personal information not being misused. So we always talk, we have seen a lot of the network infrastructures, the DNS securities and all those solutions, the firewalls, etc. Those are just the network layer solutions, and in the application layer there is a lot of, I think, improvement. I think there is a gap which need to be addressed, like the content. The traditional security solutions are only concerned about the host to host or end host, but when it's come to the browser, the applications, or the WhatsApp or Facebook, there has to be some because they are also manipulating our data. So there is high need of having some DRM mechanism over there, so that our content on the application layer is protected as per our need. So it's come to very much more important when you are a business owner and you want to share your business information or business documents with other collaborators, maybe the customers. So what service you will be using? So I think for now majority of us use the Google Drive, or some maybe the Dropbox, or some very few corporates right now are using some like private and secure mechanism to share and collaborate the document, but majority of us rely on the public and free available resources. And but there is, we will say later, that there are major concern but those publicly available solutions are not enough to protect their business. They are as per their business needs, so they are not as per our requirements. And all those solutions suffer from the traditional security landscape, like sniffing and all those passwords cracking and the hijacking sort of thing. So at the application layer, there has to be some need of an DRM mechanism. But in cloud it is more important, because the volume of the data is very high, and so is there are also big data applications on the cloud data, and this way that our in the cloud there has to specifically new standards, there has to define the new standards, so that we protect the user's privacy and all these concerns we presented so far. There is a study by PwC that shows that they interviewed, I think, around 6,300 the corporates, and then they come up the data that the 36% of the current and the 27% of the previous employees are account for their data breaches, because it's not like they are intentionally, but it's maybe due to they're unaware about the security challenges, and how they are not trained well, how they can protect the IP of their company, and it's the stats shows that there is a high need that the employees need to be trained, and also there has to be some defined mechanism to control the access of the business critical business documents. So what the DRM solutions available? They have a different mechanism. They gonna transform. Let's say, for example, we study the case. You are gonna use some service. So how it gonna protect your digital rights? So it is, so for example, you gonna input, you want to protect your documents. It can be in PDF, it can be in PPT, it can be in any the document format. But the DRM software will first transform it to some standard file format. Transform it to some standard file format, and then it will be encrypted with some strong encryption. And this way they append all the necessary data, metadata, or some access mechanism, whatever they want to use. There is open research in this area. As for the academia, if you people are from the academia, there are a lot of ongoing research about what are the encryption mechanisms or the service delivery mechanism are to be used so that the content is protected well, and also to increase the user's experience, because when on the cloud there are the mobile devices which has limited battery, limited processing, limited storage. So these benchmarks, the performance benchmark has to be kept in the mind while developing these solutions. So there are a lot of research opportunities in this, and for the IT security guys, there is some like hope that even if your data is breached, in your organization is breached, so there is an extra layer of security on your critical infrastructures. So it is gonna protect the IP and all those critical documents or some contents maybe online. So this can be seen as a next second firewall on your contents only. So even if some like the malicious intended guy intruded in your network and it steals the information and steals the files from your like this network, then it is encoded, as it is a custom encoded, so it won't be able, he won't be able to decode it, and that's why that's where this wall will take into play its role and will protect your the business documents. And one thing more is these writes are like offline writes, sort of offline writes, writes. So they are gonna stick with the file even if the file travels via USB or via email, whatever. So there's they because it's offline intact metadata inside the file, and the file itself is encrypted. So there is no way that unauthorized person can open it. Even if they got the same software, the license will not allow it to open the file. These are some of the features in the ownership, what you can assign. So for example, you are a data owner, you are a file owner, and you want to, let's say the CEO, you got all the rights of viewing, editing, sharing, deleting, print, and then you want to share with your project managers. So project manager, you can select based on your requirement. You can in this scenario it doesn't allow the managers to delete and forward, and then the editors or maybe the developers only concerned with view and editing the company policies. So and then the readers, maybe the sales team, so they can only view the documents. So these sort of useful applications you can apply on the document. And by the way, these are not available in all the publicly available repositories like Google Drive, OneDrive, Microsoft OneDrive, and there's Dropbox. So this is where this new technology come into play to protect the customer use. So their delivery mechanism is pretty straightforward. There are some license servers across their. Let's go next slide so we can better understand the scenarios. So we are here. As a consumer, we can access from our own network, but when it's come to publishing that content, the content provider will publish on the content server, and then its corresponding metadata will be automatically created based on that content. So after that, based on the content providers, there will be license assigned to that content. For example, the picture, and that will be stored in then different device. So all the licenses and access are different than the content itself. Then when the requests are to be made for the content, then it will be validated by first the licenses, and then the content will be delivered to the user. So DRM and law and internet governance, I think it's very much important to discuss. Uh, right now, there are many countries in which we do not have a proper digital rights laws, and specifically for the cloud, I think there is a need to do a specific legislation in these. Taiwan is a very good example because they incorporated comprehensive privacy protection laws in which they take into account the role of the government, and they try to define the role of the government as well as the private sectors to like the global like consensus on the role of the what is the privacy for from the government's point of view, because they want to see every person, and what is the role of the user itself and the corporates, how up to what extent they can use data, and what thing if they want to share with other departments and the same data, they has to follow some SOPs or all those security checks. So there is high need that the government itself should take into account, or should overlook all these issues, and has to propose the solutions to govern all these legislations and complete all this. I attended last month I attended APRIGF 2017, and there was So let me quickly sum up my presentation. Quickly sum up my presentation. So what are there are already some solutions available in the market. So Microsoft PlayReady is a cloud-based digital rights platform, but they are very special as I stated earlier. They are as per their own business needs, and it's only concerned with the video contents and some of the limited file types. And then the Google Widevane is a Google multi-platform, but it's only supported in the video streaming only in the browsers, and that has a very limited support. And Apple Fairplay is also in digital rights enforcement for the streaming, but it's only supported in the Mac. But there is an interesting project in the market, which is free for use for limited storage. You people can try this. This is Sky DRM. You can sign up. You get some 1 GB space to try it out. So you over there you see three repositories. So we already use many of I think all of us use the Google Drive and the Dropbox and OneDrive. So it has a capability to import to when you sign up, you are going to add your own repository and into this, and then you can assign directly the rights to your documents available in the G Drive. So after adding the documents from your account, you can see who can access when you're going to share that document with others. So you're going to see all those events, who just opened it, who just edited, who is going to like do whatever and can enforce extra security improvements in your online content. So but it's only document supported on all the browsers, and this is a very good thing. You people can try this. So and I think this is a worth trying thing. And then finally the volume. This DRM market in the 2015 was about 1000 million USD, and now in the 2020 it is expected to grow in 2898. And by the way, the previous company, the previous quarter, from the past 4 months, their sales are expecting 4 times more than their expectation. So this technology is being really being adopted in the industry as well. And finally, there has to be some safe mechanism when the data travels from the one cloud provider to the another cloud provider. And companies, this is basically if companies this for this DRM enforcement, you don't need any critical physical infrastructure. It's just protecting on the application layer data. So it has nominal cost of implementing this, and then by this you will have more control on the technology. And security and privacy are major concern that impact global cloud adoption as well, and this has to be implemented as soon as possible. So any questions? Sorry. Thank you very much.